Page 174. Can I be buried in the same grave as my hamster? I get it. You love your hamster. Rightly so. Your hamster is probably more fun than most of the people you know, and a better conversationalist. People are awful, is what I'm saying. You're not alone in wanting to give Hannibal Lecter a proper burial. People have wanted to give their animals a dignified send-off since forever. In 1914, workers found a 14,000-year-old grave near Bonn in Germany. In the grave were 2 humans, a man and a woman, and 2 dogs. One of the dogs was just a puppy, a very sick puppy infected with the canine virus. There's evidence that the humans cared for the puppy for some time before it finally died, which, given the virus, likely entailed keeping it warm and cleaning up its diarrhea. We don't know why the 2 dogs ended up buried with the humans. Maybe they were companions for the afterlife, or maybe the humans just really adored them. Do you clean up diarrhea for things you don't adore? Everyone knows about the mummies of ancient Egyptians, but less is known about their exquisite animal mummies. Egyptians performed mummification on cats, dogs, birds, even crocodiles. Some animal mummies may have been offerings to gods or even food for the afterlife. The cats were also beloved domestic pets and were delivered to their owners' tombs after a natural death as companions in the great beyond. In the late 1800s, over 200,000 of these mostly cat mummies were excavated from a massive burial site in central Egypt. And a British professor wrote, an Egyptian fella from a neighboring village dug a hole somewhere in the level floor of the desert and struck cats. Not 1 or 2 here and there, but dozens, hundreds of thousands. A layer of them, a stratum thicker than most coal seams, 10 to 20 cats deep. Cat mummies were wrapped, often painted and decorated with great care, and even given hollow bronze cases in which to spend eternity. Nowadays, you're crazy cat lady Caitlin if you want to be snuggled up next to Mr. Paws forever, but that's the wrong way to look at it. Humans have a long, rich history of being buried alongside their animals, and you and your hamster should be no different. Say you died and your family came to my funeral home to make arrangements for your burial. He just loved Hannibal Lecter, they say. Can the hamster go in the casket? My first question is Hannibal Lecter also dead? If not, I'll need to do some thinking. I like to keep an open mind, but I'm not totally comfortable with the euthanasia of healthy animals for burial. All throughout human history, animals have been sacrificed to join their masters in the underworld, but that doesn't make it an ethical idea in the 21st century. Let's assume your hamster is already dead, taxidermied, just bones or ashes, or being kept in the freezer for this very occasion. Technically, per the laws of the state of California, I am not allowed to slip Hannibal into your pocket, even if he's just a small pouch of cremated Hannibal remains. I'm not allowed to bury an animal in a human cemetery. Would I do it anyway? No comment. Other U.S. states are more progressive on the issue of humans and animals being buried together. New York, Maryland, Nebraska, New Mexico, Pennsylvania, and Virginia are all good examples. These states will allow your hamster a whole body or cremated, and you, its owner, to be buried together. In England, joint human and animal cemeteries allow you to be buried near Hannibal, and in the last decade, some joint cemeteries have even started allowing Hannibal to go directly into your grave. The law in most states, even California, used to be more loosey-goosey on where animals could legally be buried. Take a stroll through some of America's oldest cemeteries, and you'll see graves marking the burial sites of creatures like Moscow, the Civil War horse, who is interred at Sand Lake Union Cemetery in New York. You're not alone in wanting, nay, demanding to be buried with your beloved pet. There's a movement called whole family cemeteries, which argues that your whole family, mom, dad, hamsters, iguanas, should all be allowed to be buried in the same place. And it's catching on. Unfortunately, in many places, the burial of pets in a human cemetery remains frustratingly illegal. Some laws assume that it's disrespectful to have animals in human cemeteries that should be reserved for human burial, that the presence of animal remains cheapens the human ritual of burial. I understand this argument, really. There are religious and cultural reasons you might not want to be buried with someone else's beloved dog or family pig. Plus, with cemeteries running out of room in many major cities, humans are rightfully concerned that a primo corner plot might be taken by Cuddles the Great Dane. I'm all for choice in death. If you want to be buried with no animals, you should have that. If you want to be buried with animals, you should have that. more places than you'd expect are getting on with the animals getting buried with people on the legislative agenda. So yes, it's not out of the question that you and your furry friend could be buried together, running hand in paw on that great big hamster wheel in the sky. No matter what the local laws say, there may be a funeral director who's willing to sneak your pet's ashes into your casket. Not me, of course. Next question. And that was Will My Cat Eat My Eyeballs? By Caitlin Doughty. It's on sale at the Mountain Bookshop, so you be sure and snag yourself a copy before they're all gone.